Hi everyone, this is Kevin McNamara. Welcome to the Inspired Healing Podcast. It's a place where we talk about everything from plant-based diets to meditation to good healthy relationships and everything in between. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you have any questions, please hit me up and we'll get those answered on the next podcast. Thanks for listening. Let's go inside. Hi there, thanks for joining me on episode number 7. Wow. We've got a whole week of doing this, and we've got another 51 weeks to go. That's my goal, is to do one podcast a day for a year. So hold me to that, won't you? I've got to get them out. And today I want to talk to you about exercise. Exercise is a really important thing. I think we all know that. If you're not exercising, if you're not moving your body, then basically you're dying. You're not growing, you're dying. And I just want to tell a little story about something I did last year, which was I ran in my first ever marathon on the Gold Coast. But there's a bit of a story behind that. It was around about December 2018, and I'm a big fan of David Goggins. I just sort of started listening to him, and very inspiring guy. He runs about 15 miles every single day and does lots of work in the gym, that kind of thing. Ex-Navy SEAL, well worth looking up if you don't know of him. Do a bit of a Google search on David Goggins. And anyway, at this particular time, about December 2018, I'd been doing a lot of running anywhere between 5 and probably 15 to 20 Ks. Not a day, not every day, but probably 3 or 4 times a week. I'd be doing some sort of a run, and usually a pretty decent run at that. And back in 2013, I actually ran my first ever half marathon, which was about 10 months after I'd been diagnosed with prostate cancer. And that was just to get back, and really that's when I'd recovered, and I've been on my juice fasting and plant-based diet, all that kind of thing, and fitter than ever, which was fantastic. And so I'd done a half marathon, but I'd never done a marathon. And I was out running this particular day down near the Tweed River there, not far from where I live in Coolangatta, and I just thought to myself, look, I might do the half marathon next year, I think. And then this voice in my head, which I think was actually David Goggins, he said, well, it was actually me, I said to myself, well, Kev, you've already done a half marathon. Why don't you do the full one? And when I said that, just this fear came into my head, and, here I am. At that stage, I was very much into the, getting out of your comfort zone. I've got a Facebook page and a website called getoutofyourcomfortzone.com. And, but this fear just overcame me, and I thought, well, yeah, I should do the marathon, shouldn't I? And I thought about it, and I thought, well, what would Goggins do? Goggins would do the marathon. So I thought, okay, I've got to do the marathon. I've just got no choice now. And I did a Facebook Live there and then on the banks of the Tweed River, and I told the world that, okay, I've made the decision, I'm going to do the marathon this year. So I think it was just over 6 months to train for it, which is plenty of time to train for a marathon. There's no worries about that. So started training, looked up a couple of online training kind of schedules, started doing that, doing a lot of running, and then one day I decided to run on the beach. And this was about a week or two after I decided to run the marathon, running on the beach, and tweaked my Achilles. Now, anybody who's hurt their Achilles knows it's a very painful injury. And I haven't run on the beach since, actually. But so I had this injury, and it was really a setback. And because, like with your Achilles, you just can't run. And I gave it a week or two, and then I tried to run again. I'd do a couple of Ks, but it would just sort of flare up and really painful. And anyway, this went on for quite some time, and it was probably about 6 weeks out from the actual marathon. And I went and spoke to my partner Joy. I said, look, Joy, I think I'll just do the half marathon. I can't do the full one because my Achilles just isn't up to it. And she said to me, Kev, what would Goggins do? And I knew then I had to run the marathon. I had no choice. I had to run it. And so fortunately my Achilles, started to come good. So I put 6 weeks of training in. A good friend of mine, Sarah McColden, who I actually interviewed on this podcast late last year. You can find that's in the list of podcasts. If you go to our podcast page, you'll see Sarah's interview, which she's an amazing lady. Anyway, she's a bit of an ultra marathoner, and she lives over in the UK. And she gave me some advice about running, when to do it, when not to do it, how far to go with only 6 weeks training. And so I took that on board, and I did my training. I did the long runs on the Sunday, and I got up to the day of the race, and I thought I've only had six weeks to train for this. You normally give yourself 6 months, but I've got to do it. I felt pretty good, and anyway, the day comes, and we rock up there nice and early in the Gold Coast there. So I line up, and it's a very exciting thing to be a part of a marathon. There's no doubt about that. Lots of people there, like thousands. There was, I'm not sure how many people exactly, but there was something like 27,000 people were running over that weekend in different events, and the marathon certainly had a lot of people. And so, the gun went off, and it was exciting, and a big group of people. Just being part of that at the start is just fantastic. So anyway, I'm running and really enjoying it. I got up to the halfway mark, the 21k mark, and I'm thinking, I'm feeling okay. And then at the 32 kilometre mark, now the Gold Coast Marathon starts at a particular point, and you run south of the Gold Coast, and you come back, and you actually run past the start-finish line at the 32 kilometre mark. So I still had 10k's to go from there. You run up, and then 5k's north, and then 5k's back. And got to there, and I saw my partner Joy and my daughter Ali was on the sidelines, sort of cheering me on. So I stopped and had said good day and got a drink and grabbed a snack to have. You need to eat when you're running these kind of marathons, lots of protein bars, that kind of thing. And I was talking to them, and they asked me how I was going. I said, I'm feeling okay. I'm not feeling too bad. Anyway, I took off, and Joy told me later that, even though I said I felt great, she said, when you took off, your body wasn't actually saying that. Your body wasn't saying you feel great. So I took off, and the last 10 kilometres, let me tell you, just the hardest thing to do, just really tough. Inside my head, I'm thinking, look, it's just 2 park runs. You've just got 2 park runs to go. And I tried everything to just, talk myself around to just keep going. It was just it's the toughest thing I've ever done, that last 10 kilometres. And with about 3 kilometres to go, I never once stopped to a walk, apart from when you get your water at the water station. You just quickly stop and grab a water or a Gatorade, whatever. And but I was so close to stopping, and I thought, oh my God, my whole body was just in pain. But fortunately, the closer you get to the finish, you get that little burst of energy, and with a kilometre to go, there's people lining the street, and they're cheering you on, and you get that extra burst of energy. And anyway, we're coming up to you're on the highway, and you turn left, and it's about 300 metres to go once you turn left. So anyway, I got to there, and I turned left, and some people I knew sort of were cheering for me, which was great. And then as I come down the straight to finish the marathon, one of the commentators just yells out, and here comes Kevin McNamara. That's him in the white shorts, and he's just turned 60. So what do you do when you turn 60? You run a marathon. And I'm thinking, how does this guy know who I am and know my story? And anyway, that just spurred me on so much. It just gives you that extra burst. Like, you think you're totally exhausted. You think you're gone for all money, and then you turn into the straight, and I knew Joy and Ali were there somewhere, and people are just cheering you on, and you've got more in you than what you think, basically. And I just really sprinted to the end, even though it may not have looked like a sprint. I was going as fast as my body would take me. So I got to the end, and anyway, I was talking to Joy and Ali later, and just the elation of just getting across that line was just, it's like winning a grand final if you've ever played football or any kind of sport, and you win a premiership or whatever. That's what it feels like. Because you put all this work in, and you get there, you get to the finish line, you get your gold medal for finishing and all that kind of thing. So that was pretty amazing. And I was talking to Ali and Joy afterwards, and I said, "Hey, how did the guy know me?" And they expected me to finish a lot earlier than what I did, but the last 10 kilometres just took forever for me. And one of the commentators, because they were sort of standing near them, said, "Who are you waiting for?" And my daughter Ali said, "Oh, my dad, Kevin, he's oh, look, there he is now. He's just turned 60 and this is his first marathon." And so the guy's just repeating that as I'm coming down the straight. It was just fantastic. Just a great feeling. So that was my little marathon story. And just like I say, just the sense of achievement and the sense of satisfaction in just completing that was just amazing. And so it all comes back to exercise and really pushing yourself and just, So I guess my message today is it doesn't matter how much you do. It doesn't matter whether you just walk around the block, once a day, but just do something just to keep your body moving. Because like I say, if you're not moving, you're not growing, you're dying, basically. And I love my running. I get out there as often as I can. We're down in Melbourne now, which is a lot cooler than the Gold Coast, but I still love getting out there. It's fantastic. So that's my little story about exercise, and one of my great achievements. I'm very proud of that. But anybody can do that. When you put your mind to it, I had this Achilles that was really painful, but you can get through that. So if I can do that, I guess the real message is here, if I can do that, then you can go for a little, 1 kilometre walk daily. There's no excuse, really. So get out there, do some exercise. Your body will love you for it. Your mind will love you for it. It'll give you some clarity. It'll get that oxygen moving in your body, and you'll feel great. So go and do that. Go and exercise. Really important. Hope you enjoyed my little marathon story. I like telling that story. I always get excited, and I feel that excitement of crossing that finish line. It's just fantastic. So thanks for listening, guys. I'll be back again tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you're listening on YouTube, also subscribe there. Leave a comment. Love to hear your thoughts on the podcast, and I'll speak to you real soon. Bye-bye. Really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inspired Healing Podcast. If you did, share it with your friends, family, share it around, and don't forget to subscribe. Check out the website below, turmericheals.com, and we'll see you on the next podcast.